Constantly your production gahu, makai, kodo, baiti, gayaru, bera, bakra, kolega ऐसा, kolega. यो पहिला भन्दा अब आज भोलि धेरै फरक छ बेरा पनि छैन अहिले हेर्दैन तंगु रंगबा आने तंगु रंगबा आने my big idea from this handbook coming through your समाज संविधान के फरक हुन्छ in anthropology, social science, we've had a change, turn, multi-species turn. Multi-species. के हो? नेपालीले के भन्छ? Multi-species. बहुजातिहरू भनिरहेका थियो multi-species turn. अनि पहिला भन्दा के फरक हुन्छ बेला हेर्दैन यो पहिला जस्तो कोदो मकै गहुँ आफै बनाएको उब्जाउ अब गर्दैन यो काम गर्ने मान्छे छैन सोबिनी आरे हेर्ची गुएकी हेर्ची मलेसी हेर्ची काम सोबिनी आरे आयांगरी पहिला यो intensive agricultural season योले सक्दैन घर बेग्लै सक्दैन नङ लादो भयो नङ फार्मा नेपाली फार्मा भन्छ परेली भन्छ तमाकुरले नङ लाबा आफै rotational exchange labor system आज मेरो घरमा मान्छे आउँछ यो घरमा आउँछ नङ लाबा भोलि अर्को घरको Parsi Arko Pani अनि your rotational exchange labor system. That was my first PhD interest, to prove the majority of production was done through indigenous reciprocity system. यो बेलामा पनि त्यहाँ रसोमा लङथाङ राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्ज छ लङथाङ राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्जले लोकल पिपलसँग राम्रो मिलेको छैन यो राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्जको अफिसरहरू Ranger, Scout, local मान्छेसँग respect गर्दैन समस्या थियो तर मेरो दोस्रो अनुसन्धान 1997-98 environmental अनुसन्धान and I did comparison Rasuwa, Chitwan, Makalubaru, 3 locations comparing conservation governance systems, national park, community-based conservation idea in buffer zone, also in Chitwan. मेरो विषयमा यो multi-species interaction जो ठुलो कुरो आजभोलि climate change हावापानी बारे पता Namchikurba. There are many names, there are many descriptions, there are many labels for climate change. But I think for Taman communities, there's a connection, there's a multi-species understanding which is different, very different from those from people from Kathmandu, from other kinds of relation with the non-human world. And in this book, there's a very interesting chapter from Bhutan. And it uses the concept of mi mayin. In Dzongkha, the language of Bhutan, mi mayin, more than human. And in social sciences, we have often neglected the non-human. We've assumed too much that the humans, the people, are the center of the story, and we've forgotten the dependence of human communities on non-humans. And I've been working in this idea towards thinking about multi-species infrastructures. Why do I say that? Look in the picture on the cover. How is the gas cylinder getting up into the mountains? It's on the back of the mule. Kacha. This is multi-species infrastructure. And I think there's much we can do by bringing out the relationships with the non-humans. Because this is also an, what do we say? Ecological ethics of care. An ecological ethics of care. And I think that my experience in Rasua has taught me, I started with the Bombo, had many sessions hearing stories and trying to explain to me the understandings of the other perspectives, the perspectives of other beings, beyond the human, that I was able to gather from the Bombo. Okay. Also, because people have gone away, because no longer is village production the primary driving force for the village economy. Instead, people are going to Kuwait, Dubai, Malaysia. So the primary economic interest is moved away from producing subsistence agricultural crops. But something else has happened also. In fact, the very first chapter of this handbook is written by a German called Dietrich Schmidt-Wurth and the Nepali Akash Verma. And they're looking at the forest, the spread of forest cover in Nepal. So when I started my research in 1989, there was still the worry about deforestation, overpopulation, Himalayan dilemma. Now it seems the forest has nearly doubled in 30 years. The forest cover in Nepal, nearly doubled. And people in the village, they have left, abandoned many fields, many marginal fields. Dinamjo aso, makai asu, sanga asu, klaji, jungle taji, jungle teno. So adam so bimiare. So this whole logic of reorganizing the economy to international labor and remittances means the ecology is changing, the multi-species interactions are changing. Now, Banda, Banyan, Doha, Doam, Dongxing. There's an increase in the wildlife that is coming. Is that such a bad thing? You know, I think this is not all a bad thing. There's new kinds of values that are emerging in adapting to the changing circumstances of what is possible in the economy and what people have to do to adapt to climate change. With the climate change, it first hit me in 2009. I visited 2009 in Rasuwa. And the people I knew from my original research, they said, Ale, lo, nango, fiafula, nimam shijim prawa. We are walking dead. This is finished. The old system of farming is gone. We are dead compared to how we were before. So, in fact, this was more impactful possibly than the insurgency. The fact that the drought is coming so often. Namayu. It used to be, I remember, December time, Magapus, there would be some rains. And the complicated, very interesting organization of cropping in two phases of a biennial system running simultaneously. It was interesting. It was very interesting, complicated and synchronized cropping. So there would always be some grain that would come, some wheat that would come in April, Baisakhtira, would be ready to eat again. And then with the drought, with no rain in Pagamu, in Pusmar, this was finished. The drought was killing off the possibility of that subsistence farming system anymore. So the people are having to do different kinds of things, trying to adjust. Where's Mutlu? I can't see. There was the book written by Brigitte Steinmann, who worked in Cabre. I think in English, it was a French book, but I think in English, I remember, she had this phrase, it was a civilization of buffaloes and maize. A civilization of buffaloes and maize. That describes the sort of 1980s pursuit of subsistence farming. And I think now we have something very different. We have different kinds of infrastructures. Roads, mobile phone, mobile IT, energy, bijuli, even gobar gas. I've been doing some work on gobar gas, and I'd like to show a little video in a while. If we can get that link ready. There's a 6-minute video that I've edited down. But I was interested to see the gobar gas because of the work at Durham University, Durham Energy Institute had funded me to seek alternative for using Daura for the yak cheese factory at Tanganbari, Shingombo. The national park, Rasil Kutane, there's always Samasya with the yak cheese factory. So maybe this could be an opportunity. And yes, with climate change also, it seemed to empower the states. Climate change was being used by by the national park, by other authorities as well, to kind of emphasize old conflicts between biodiversity and livelihoods in the context of the national park. So climate change comes along, oh, we want to do something about this, we must try and stop livelihoods in the national park. It should not translate like that. It doesn't need to translate like that. But this is what happened in Nepal. This is what happens. So we've got infrastructure, we've got roads, gobar gas. So I'm suggesting pathways of learning. I gave you my title, pathways of learning. Yam, Lam, for learning. And my experience in Rasua, also with climate change, is with the impact of drought, Nam Ayu, I saw more attention paid to the Lalu, to the springs where it was often walnut tree, Kadodongbo, was growing where there was a pool of water, and this was a sacred pool, and there would be at times of Mana Sankranti especially, I think. That was when the Bongo or the Laben would come and do a chanting with the spirit of the water, with the sentience of the water. So this is something which also is coming through in many other writers talking about water and rivers. Rivers are alive, rivers are persons, rivers and water systems are vital, and we've neglected them too much, and we've let them become impure, and we've let them become polluted. And I think we can learn from the attention that I saw in Rasua towards the water spirits. There's one particular time I followed a young Bombo. He asked me to come, and there was this one place which they say is Menchu, and it can cure your eyes, it can cure various problems, but basically there were these streams, trickles of water that never dried up. So of course it's a God. They were constant, they were dependable, they didn't dry up. Why wouldn't you worship such a thing? Very interesting relationship with the non-human, more than human, coming into my understanding of what my research was, where it was taking me. I think about your video, YouTube, Henry Sakunsa. So this is from several years. I was visiting in Rasua to the cheese factory. It became something I wanted to explore. Here we go. This was in collaboration with an engineer from Newcastle University, Paul Salas, he was here. This is just a 6-minute interview, 6 minutes a piece of film, and it shows some of the context of the problems that there are in innovating, in bringing a gobar gas or some alternative to daura, to biomass energy supply. Okay.
Loro Makanadoji. Dimsa itu haji.
Dimsa Hotel.
Dimsa itu haji jangan diulangkan.
Asal Nebo
Cina malah. Nebo Cina malah.
Nebo
Nemo ama tapi Nemo yang nomor
Ama malah ama.